Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland on March 22nd in London. Holland's coming off a loss to Rainier de Ritter, but he didn't take any damage. He got taken down and tapped out pretty fast in the first round, but just to take down and tap out, no damage. Gunnar Nelson hasn't fought in a couple years. Holland has actually fought 7 times since Gunnar last fought in 2023 against Brian Barberena. So it's one of the most active fighters on the UFC roster in Holland and one of the lesser active fighters on the UFC roster in Gunnar Nelson. This is Gunnar's 4th fight in 5 years. This is Holland's 4th fight in 8 months. So big difference there. That being said, the fight could go exactly the same as Holland's last fight against de Ritter. Gunnar has the skills to get a takedown and tap out in round 1. We'll see if he can do that. Maybe there is something to be said about being active and not having ring rust. But at the same time, skills are skills, and maybe he can do it. But people are reluctant to bet on Kevin Holland these days. You just never know what you might get with him. Sometimes he looks like a top 5 fighter. Sometimes he looks like a fish out of water. Regardless, he's always willing to fight anyone and anywhere. This time, the anyone. Is Gunnar Nelson the anywhere? Is London, England? And it is on March 22. Card is headlined by Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena. Co-main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. You also have Tybura versus Parkin. In a heavyweight contest, Menefeld C, Bannon Tomer, Puliev, Duncan, McCann, Nunes, Wood, Cherrier, Fletcher, Loughran, Kavanaugh, Santos, Herbert, Padilla. And fight number 12 would be Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Gunny Nelson. UFC 312 adds Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. That's April 12th in Miami, Florida. So you got that fight. You got Krylov versus Reyes in the light heavyweight division. Morales, Burns, Janjidoba, Yan Shanan in the strawweight division. Main event, they're targeting Ilya Topuria versus Volkanovski Part 2. That's at the Kaseya Center, Miami, Florida, April 12th. Brian Ortega needs a fight. He's beefing with guys playing Fortnite and going so far as to fly from California to North Carolina just to choke them out.
The real reason why I flew to North Carolina was because he was talking shit. We made a bet. I said, bro, I'll fly over there and choke you out. Here he is. I showed up to his damn job. You gonna go to sleep? Yes. Hell yeah. There we go. Put your hands up. That way I know when you go to sleep. You're out. He's out. I felt weird. Sit back down before you ball. No, I'm good.
Ortega's next opponent is to be determined. His weight class also to be determined. He's talked about moving up to 155. Brian Ortega went 1-1 in 2024. He beat Yair Rodriguez in February, but then he lost a decision to Diego Lopez in September. Sean Strickland's going to have Alex Pereira in his corner for his fight with DDP in a week and a half. Pavlovich and Shara Bullet. Pavlovich, a pretty big favorite over Rosenstruck on Saturday. Shara Bullet, a slight favorite over MVP. Strickland has been training with Bellator/PFL middleweight champion Johnny Eblen. Strickland says, PFL let this man go to the UFC. It's time. Michael Venom Page moving out to 185 this weekend to take on Sharabullah Magomedov, but it's a one-off fight. At middleweight, he's going to drop back down to welterweight afterwards.
Very unorthodox as well. A very unique style that people don't really understand. That matchup there is going to make for an explosive stand-up fight. This is a one-off fight for me. What it does for me in terms of rankings, in terms of position, I don't care. This was just a great opportunity to have an amazing fight for the fans, for the UFC. So I'm going to take it, and then I go back to work afterwards. So either way, I'm still going to be grinding to get to the top of that mountain there.
Young Yu.
AJ Cunningham dropping down to 135 March 15, taking on Su Young Yu.
Young Yu.
Former UFC fighter Parker Porter's fighting on this card on Saturday in BKFC, as well as Julian Lane. This apparently is going to be some sort of a reality series starting March 27th on Max with Logan and Jake Paul. Uriah Hall tells Karate Combat to stop dicking him around and do it. Their president says, Uriah Hall's fought 1 time in 2 years. Someone's dicking around and it's not me. You're too talented to waste on the shelf. Let's get you fighting 4 times a year. Call me back. They say Jaden Anode has agreed to fight and they're waiting on a callback from Uriah Hall. Erdogan versus Sang Part 2 added to the 170 card February 20th in Qatar. Reinier de Ridder back in Breda, Netherlands, training after his victory over Kevin Holland. He wants a top 5 opponent next. It's unlikely to happen because he's not even in the rankings yet. He beat Meerschaert in his UFC debut, and then he beat Holland in his next fight. Both finishes, but both guys weren't ranked, so neither is he. Peyton Talbot selling merchandise and says that proceeds will go towards learning how to wrestle, so he has a sense of humor about his last loss, his first loss in MMA to Ioni Barcelos. He was taken down a lot in that fight and controlled a lot on the ground in that fight.
If you want high-level wrestling, 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Weili Zhang's been training in Thailand leading up to her fight with Tatiana Suarez next week. This is her shape about a week and a half before her fight with Suarez. So she's in really good shape. Her coach says, I spent 10 rounds of 5 minutes trying to make her tired to no avail. So she's in good shape, and she needs to be against Suarez, but Suarez definitely needs to be too. This is the first time she's fighting in a 5-round fight. She's never gone past round 3. Weili Zhang has fought in 7 title fights, so she's prepared for this 7 times already. She has gone the full 25 minutes 3 times against different styles. A lot more experience on the side of Zhang, 28 fights versus 10. Some people are still picking Suarez, but Weili, with her experience and skills, is the slight favorite in that one. I don't know why we treat people who antagonize trained fighters like defenseless children. Commission doesn't care about fans. They just want to exercise power to justify their existence. If fans lay hands on them during walkouts, it's self-defense, that's all. Jiri Prochazka back training after his victory over Jamal Hill. Unorthodox training methods, but whatever he has been doing has been working. He's beat everybody that the UFC has thrown in front of him, aside from Alex Pereira. Defense-wise, he also improved in his fight with Jamal Hill. A lot of people criticized him in the past for blocking punches with his face, but that was not the case against Hill. Good head movement and getting out of the way of shots.